Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground is brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Production funding for Common Ground is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Hi, and welcome to Common Ground. I'm your host, Ashley Hall. Common Ground captures the creative process of various artists living throughout our region. Each week, we delve into the veiled history of our area, plus we take you inside the cultural events that put the North in North Country. On this week's episode of Common Ground, meet Brian Jarvi, an artist who uses first-hand observations to create realistic portrayals of wildlife. See the creative works of wreath maker Meyer, and we head to Motley for the Two Rivers Music Festival.
Well, I'm a self-taught artist. I drew and sketched all my entire childhood, but I didn't take up painting until I was about 25, I guess, when I decided I wanted to start entering the Minnesota Duck Stamp competition. And after 6 years, and my sixth painting, and it was my sixth entry in the Minnesota Duck Stamp, it was going to be my last serious painting. I won the Minnesota Duck Stamp competition. And the very next painting I did was a submission for the Minnesota Pheasant Stamp competition, and I ended up winning that. So sometimes you wonder about destiny, you know. I was one painting away from oblivion, so to speak, and you know, sometimes perseverance is one of the best assets an artist can have. So right now I'm trying to complete the foreground here and establish the grasses and the vegetation before I start building the color up in here. Some of these areas are near completion. As the painting continues, I'll make tonal adjustmts to them because I'm establishing depth in the painting. This one has got a wide range because of the dust that the Cape Buffalo have built up. The storyline in this painting is these are two young male lions who've probably recently been forced out of their pride. They'll spend a couple years as nomads, and life is very tough for them. And it's an experiment too. In this painting, they've come to the conclusion that they've bitten off a lot more than they can chew. Going after a large herd of Cape Buffalo is extremely dangerous business for them, and they're going to move on now. Now, some paintings have a lot less preliminary work than something like this, but with all the different elements, all the different individual animals, it requires a lot of pre-thought, a lot of pre-painting. You know, simple portraits, I'll just go simply right to the subject. If I were painting this male lion, I would just go in full color and attack it that way. But everything has to work. This is the third time I've painted these lions in, for instance, because of not so much size, but location of the animals didn't appear right, neither perspective-wise or compositional. So this painting is unusual in that it's about 2.5 years old. I put it down several times, put it back in the closet, and just recently took it out a few weeks ago and took another shot at relocating the lions. I'm pleased with them at this point, so I brought them up to near full color in the painting, and the relationship between them and the buffalo appears right to me now. Most of the time I'll start with a very rough pencil or charcoal sketch. Like I say, the more elaborate the piece is, the more preliminary work is. Sometimes there's more work creating the composition and structuring it than the actual painting of it. I love the oil medium. Slow drying process when I first started allowed me to experiment a lot more than, say, some of the quicker drying processes like acrylic or watercolor, which is very unforgiving. You get one shot and either it works or it doesn't. I've probably shot 35,000 slides of Africa already in my 10 trips over there. So oftentimes I do have specific things that I'm going over there to try to accomplish, be it subject matter, be it lighting, be it situations. With that in mind, always keeping an extremely open mind, just looking for anything new and exciting, which happens all the time in Africa. It's just a very dynamic place to visit. I never get tired of going over there. Most of these animals, especially the buffalo, are probably very close to where I want them to be. Once I establish, complete the foreground, there may be some moving of subjects forward, pulling subjects forward or pushing them farther back into the dust. You can see two where there are oxpeckers flying through. I have not really gotten to them yet. They're still in the monochromatic stage. But hopefully I've got them at approximately the depth and the distance into the painting that I want them. Those will be easy adjustments once I get everything else in place. That's why I'm kind of playing them off a bit at this point in time. But what I like to do in my work, which I don't believe you see too often, is create a storyline, a situation where you may have to spend most of your life in the African bush in order to witness. So consequently, these pieces take a tremendous amount of research since I haven't necessarily witnessed them myself in Africa. And I'll get a hold of whatever information I can to help try to create a convincing piece of art in the end. Be it books, documentaries. I'll work from mounts, and of course I do a lot of photography over there as well, and all those different elements hopefully will combine to create a convincing piece of art. Lions are one of my favorite subjects. I probably painted them more than any other African species. I just think they're great looking animals. I like the muscularity of them, the athleticism of them, the thin skin, the structure of them. They're just a great subject to paint. I never get tired of painting them. Right now there seems to be a bit of separation between the foreground and the background, and I am keenly aware of that at this point in time, and I expected it. But hopefully as the detail builds up, that gap in between, you can even see this area here seems to work a little bit better with the background, and as I continue through, we'll fill the gap, you know, the depth gap in between, and like I say, there'll be a lot of subtle tonal adjustments to bring the different elements into the proper depth of the painting. I always enjoyed wildlife as a kid, and of course I loved art as well, so it was just a natural marriage for me. And the complexity and the diversity of the wild world always keeps you excited. You know, there's always something new to paint. There's always a different situation to paint. You know, I'll never come close to even getting onto canvas all the different ideas I have just for my African art. I'll certainly you know, continue to pursue the African subject matter. It's what I'm most passionate about, and if I could give a young artist any advice, it would be paint what you're passionate about. It's going to be your best work, and it makes what you do more enjoyable too. I personally never get tired of the subject matter, and I never get tired of going over there and seeing it in person. So I think that's solid advice for any young artist.
Okay, this is our 4th annual Motley's Two Rivers Music Fest. We have some artists from all over the Minnesota, from Minneapolis all the way from Motley to Pequot Lakes and Brainerd area. This is something nobody else has. Nobody else does this. Motley doesn't have anything. The other cities have their own little festival or whatever. Motley doesn't have anything. So we started this, Bob Jenkins started this 4 years ago. It was a dream of his, and it's growing, and it's very real to him now.
When I started this 4 years ago, I wanted arts and music. And so that's what we've got now. And music, we have a little bit of something for everybody. We've got country gospels, we've got 50s and 60s bands, we've got Memphis blues, so they do a lot of music that people would relate to. When I first started this thing 4 years ago, I kept saying, well, we don't have anything, we don't have anything. Well, I know we got poets, I know we got painters, I know we got, so let's get music and them together. And therefore, that's what we did. And we are now doing what we set out to do. So my mother had a saying, put your money where your mouth is or shut up. And I put my money where my mouth was and did it.
On Saturday, we start with the firemen's pancake breakfast. After that, we have Kids Day in the park. So all day, the kids will have games, things to eat, free prizes. FFA will be bringing in some games. We have local people who have donated a lot of the prizes for the children. The parade starts with the Kiddies Parade. The Grand Parade will be right after the Kiddies Parade. Started with the veterans and the flags, and hopefully some of our local people back from Afghanistan and Iraq. And it's a whole 4 blocks long, but it'll be fun. It's a fun day. The crafters, we started out with 5. This year we have 35. We have like 4 publishers here, and they're all different. We have some poetry, we have novels, we have a little mixture of everything. In the future, we want the craft fair part of it to be like Little Falls, where our streets will be full of crafters. I am looking at it as I'm hoping the bands will want to volunteer their time. They'll say, can we do it next year? The most important thing is it is a free event, and I did not say that before, but you can get in the grounds free. All the music is free instead of paying the big charges for cover charge or to get in to see the bands. It is all free, so anybody can come in and enjoy the day. They don't have to worry about not having enough money. Come and enjoy the day. Walk around, do a little shopping, and just have a good time. The kids will have a good time too.
One of the reasons we also do this is because class reunions. In these small towns, the class reunions want something to come back to. They want to see their friends or what have you. Last year we had, I think, 5 class reunions. This year we've got 4 or 5. They make a point to come back for a music fest because there's something to come home to. They take pride in their little town. Their little town's doing this. Our goal is to make this a little bigger event so that more neighbors are knowing what they're doing. This is what this is for people to meet neighbors, see, oh, I didn't know you painted that picture. I didn't know you did this kind of handiwork. That's what this is for. So to me, we succeeded in doing what we want.
I'm Joe Meyer, and I'm a ditcher. A ditcher is the professional name for people that gather natural growth, and that's what I do. I gather all kinds of things, be it branches, weeds, anything that's out there growing, and I make designs out of it. I was a little disgruntled one day thinking about finding a job. I work best alone, and I was driving down the road and I said, Lord, there's got to be money here somewhere. Show me. And I started dragging my feet through the ditches and picking up what they call sagewort cudweed. And I was making sheaths, like a sheath of grain, and I tied it was Christmas time, I tie a bow around them and took them to a craft show and sold them for $5 each. Was something for them to hang on their door, and I sold out, and my creative spirit just got so embellished I just could hardly keep my feet on the ground. And that's where it all started, and I just kept on looking for more. After a while, I started thinking that I could do things with branches, because in our area we have a lot of branches of all kind, but one of the wonderful things is we have ironwood branches. And ironwood is my all-time favorite. It lets me twist and turn and pull it into anything I want. And there's plenty of it there. There's about 5 landowners that let me go into their woods and harvest. And it's not a desired wood for them. And so they jokingly say, if you take the prickly ash too, that would be great. But the ironwood was very popular in the pioneer days for fence posts because it's so hard, dries like iron. And the pioneer women loved baking bread with it because it made a hot, hot fire that would last until the bread was done. When I go out into the woods, I bring a pocket full of rubber bands, and I rubber band all the branches together, so I know when I pick up these branches that they're going to be good for a certain item. I love the skinny, those that are the size of a, like an eyebrow pencil or a writing pencil. They're just much easier to bend and work with. Now I get an established dried base, which is the wreaths you can pick up at the craft stores. And then I don't like, I think they're wussy. So I'm ready to embellish them, and I just take the branches and this is what I teach my classes. I have what I call Wreath Camp, and I teach people how to make a wreath like this more interesting, embellishing it. So what I do is I take just a couple of the skinny branches and I go around the whole thing, just twisting and turning and getting it to go where I want until it, some of the students will make them as fat as car tires with keeping on getting the branches all the way around the wreath. I like to call it free-spirited wreaths, letting them just kind of go out where they want. At first it's a little confusing, and I tell my students not to be discouraged. It's like working with a child when they become teenagers and get gangly, and you think that they're never going to turn into this beautiful butterfly, but after a while it just all comes together, and the wreath takes on a whole new look from its beginning. Looks easy, doesn't it? Now I would do this all the way around, and I can keep on doing it. You can take, you know, the regular wreath that's only like 24 inches across and end up with a wreath that looks like it's 4 feet in diameter. Just big. And now what my students would say is when they get into all this, okay, now what I do, but you just go like going through the woods. You just go and work through them. So we're almost done here, just a couple more. Once again, I have to work between these. And once in a while, if the branches aren't the right length, I can just put them in to the wreath. It acts like a pin cushion. So it fits right in and stays well. And these are all fresh branches. They will dry, and then they're very, very much there for good. So now let's see what we have. And then the students start decorating them. I want to show you how I do the shepherd hooks. The shepherd hook is one of my very favorites. And It took a while before the brainstorming came to the right decision. But what I've done, this one is ready to be bent into a shepherd hook. This one is ready to, I close it up with wire. I always use paddle wire. This is number 22 wire. The bigger the number, the skinnier the wire. And this wire here, that's inside here, this is number 9 wire. So after I've hidden that wire in there, then I keep going around so that all the branches are all tied together. And having been raised on a farm, I know how the farmers, you know, they spend their lifetime shepherding their whole farm, be it the fields or the cattle. And when they weren't selling good, I started giving them away as memorials when a farmer friend would die. And I'd have the family hang it more on the farm buildings than you know, on the door, although I have one on my door. And I use it year-round with different tie-ons, decorations. And I especially like them in the fall. I guess because the harvesting is all done. So I have 2 that are ready. One is a little bit smaller than the other. So they will end up. Now it looks like, this is what I like about ironwood. It can go really tall and still be skinny because it's searching for the light. And now the wire is down to about here. So I'm going to bend it over really hard and then bend it back. And then give it a little bit of a, I remember on the farm, the little chicken hooks to catch the chickens when they were going to go to market. And we also had sheep, but we never had to use a shepherd hook to catch them. So you can see how that, a little bit of a kink there. But there you have a shepherd hook for a Norwegian, a little taller. I like to decorate with them. My decorations are always tie-ons so that my customers can change them with the seasons. Then it's ready for wherever you want to hang it. All of this stuff was found on the roadside or in the ditches. It is the baby's breath, tansy, and it's very fun because if you touch it up with a little bit of Design Master spray, it's for fresh and dried flowers. I spray burgundy on the tansy and it takes on a wonderful fall look, and I love it. Bittersweet. The bittersweet is the little orange berries. They almost have that deer hunting orange look. Sagewort cudweed, that's the first weed I cut when I went dragging my feet through the ditches. This is curly dock, and it's a favorite. I like it because it doesn't shed. It just stays very nice. I like to pick it when it's green, and it'll stay green. If any light gets onto it, then it starts to go into its brown look. And a lot of people call it Indian tobacco. And then the hydrangeas, when I put them, tuck them down into the baby's breath, and the baby's breath comes wrapping around it, it just holds it and keeps it from shattering. It's not so fragile then. And putting it all into one basket makes it very fun. The very first thing I do is put the baby's breath in there, and then I wire it with some of my favorite wire. They shatter easily. So I always teach my students to spread the baby's breath, put the hydrangea down in, and then it'll hold it. And they just hold, everything here holds very well. One of the things that I love and is is good for the customers to know is that because everything is sticks in the baby's breath, it can be put up on a shelf and everything will stay. It can be even tipped upside down and everything stays in. And it lasts until they are tired of it. They can roast a marshmallow with it. The bittersweet is there for the picking, and so is all the other stuff. It amazes me when I'm out at a show and people say, I never see this stuff. Where do you get it? They have just driven by all of it to get to the show. It's amazing.
Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you enjoyed the show, and we look forward to seeing you next week right here on Common Ground.
If you have a segment idea for Common Ground, please contact us at legacy@lptv.org or call us at 218-333-3022. Individual segments or copies of Common Ground, please call 218-333-3020. Common Ground is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008.